I can hear you just great, Richard. Daniel, do you want to just test your mic? I'm sure it's good.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys, and we'll be on in just a second. All right, thanks everyone, and welcome to the September 9th Regional District meeting. It's 4 p.m. and we're just going to call things to order. As always, I just want to acknowledge that we're gathering together on the unceded traditional territories of the Comox First Nation, and it's our practice to read one of the calls to action. This is called action number 78, the National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation. We call upon the Government of Canada to commit to making a funding contribution of over $10 million over 7 years to the National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation, plus an additional amount to assist communities to research and produce histories of their own residential school experience and their involvement in truth, healing, and reconciliation. We'll now go on to adoption of minutes from August 12th. Okay. Any questions, omissions? Seeing none, any opposed? And that carries. And we have a delegation today. I see the folks from the Youth Climate Corps, Maddie Tureen, Mikasa Queef, and Jesse Sievert to present some information on the work that you've been doing in Courtenay, the city of Courtenay this year. And Courtenay representative, very much appreciative of that work. And I'd invite you to come up to the podium in just 10 minutes, and then we'll do questions after that. You just hit that button at the bottom. I can get you live. Great. All right. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Comox Valley Regional District Board. We just want to start off by saying thank you so much for the opportunity to speak before you today. A lot of you have already seen this presentation, but for those of you who haven't, just to introduce ourselves, my name is Maddie, and I'm the program coordinator for the Courtenay team of the Youth Climate Corps. Today I'm joined with the program lead, Mikasa, and one of our climate action mobilizers, Jesse. Oops. So we're part of a province-wide initiative along with teams from North Vancouver Island, Squamish, Vernon, Hazelton, and Kelowna. The YCC pays youth a living wage to support community climate action projects and increase local capacity, while setting up young people with tools needed for a successful career in the climate action sector. We are in the final months of our first season here in the Comox Valley, and we're just here today to share an overview of the team's contributions to the community this summer. We will specifically focus on projects related to urban agriculture and ecological restoration, and highlight why having a team of young people dedicated to climate action matters so much here in the Comox Valley. One of the main project areas that our team has been focusing on this summer is urban agriculture and increasing local food security. We've been working really closely with Lush Valley in their urban community gardens, with local farm partners, as well as leading fruit picks on private property. This partnership has expanded Lush's staff capacity in the summer months to allow for increased project activity. We've also been doing work with the Lake Trail Community Education Society to create a reimagined garden space for community members in a once underutilized space. Following plants from seed to table has definitely been a highlight for me this summer. Planting vegetables in the early season that we later had the opportunity to harvest and serve at a community meal was a really good full circle moment.
Another area that we have focused on is ecosystem restoration. Through our partnership with Project Watershed, we have participated in replacing invasive species with native plants at 2 sites, the Courtenay Air Park and the Kuskusum sites. This work has turned 2 extremely degraded areas into thriving functional ecosystems that now provide habitat for many species, as well as ecosystem services such as flood control, water filtration, and erosion protection. We are also monitoring local stream health with Project Watershed and other stream keeping groups to establish a stream health baseline and support data-driven decision-making in our local watersheds. We've also been doing weekly monitoring at the Morrison Creek Headwaters site, which is a BC Parks Foundation site. Here we've deployed trail cams and audio recording units, and we've also tracked the biodiversity of plants and animals at the site. We've mapped the invasive species distribution throughout the site to inform future removal projects as well. And this has been a really effective project because we did a little pilot removal and we removed 270 kilograms of Scotch broom using the mapping that we've done in a single morning. Yeah, it's a lot. And there's a lot more out there, so a lot more for us to do. Here are some other numbers they're not completely updated, but as of August 25th, we had completed 250 days of climate action work. And we've also picked a lot more food and harvested a lot more food, but we just have data from July 18th. Of course, a big part of our impact is also on the youth that we employ. So I'm going to let Jesse speak for himself to his own experience.
As a young person that came to YCCBC, not just to do good work in my community, but also gain skills and make myself more employable, I think it's super valuable that we've gotten to work with a variety of different organizations and from this learn a variety of different skills. The relationships that we're building with the people within these organizations aren't just useful for the work we're doing today, but could prove to serve us well beyond our time with YCC. Being able to work on complex tasks, come up with ideas, and be involved earlier on in the project design phase of our outreach strategies or projects that we're working on with the City of Courtenay has been something that I found super important as I want to continue to work in project development and eventually management later in my career. I'm super appreciative of everything YCC has done for me, not just in providing this opportunity, but also tailoring the experience to each of our individual needs and showing a real commitment to making sure that we're getting the most out of our time here throughout this experience. So like I said before, I really can't be more thankful.
After all that we've achieved this year, we want to present an idea of what YCCBC could look like if we were given the opportunity to run again next year. Virtually all of our community partners have expressed interest in continuing to work with YCCBC, and we continue to receive requests of support from other organizations. We've also started a number of projects that we would like to continue past this season, including our Climate Action Book Club and our Invasives Removal Service, which targets properties with invasives that are spilling over into municipal parks. In order to carry on this work, we rely on the ongoing support of our local governments. Our work has contributed to a more climate resilient community across municipal boundaries, and we are excited to continue this work and bring new projects to life per the needs and ideas of all local governments. We look forward to reaching even more of the community, deepening our impact, and inspiring the kind of cultural and environmental shifts we need for a more sustainable future. What we have achieved so far has been thanks to our partnership with the City of Courtenay. However, our impact could be even greater with the additional support from the CVRD and other municipalities. Thank you again for listening to us speak and for considering how we can work together to strengthen and support our youth in building climate action skills that will help them find meaningful employment. We look forward to any questions.
All right, thanks so much. And I'm just looking around to see if there are a lot of appreciative faces, no particular questions. And Director Brown.
I just wanted to say thanks. And I hadn't realized that City of Courtenay had engaged you guys. And if anybody wanted to speak to how that actually works for the benefit of the other municipalities that are here and also this board, that would be great.
Yeah, so this year, the City of Courtenay has partnered with YCCBC and provided some funding for us to be here. And we're not sure whether that will be continued next year, but so far it sounds very promising. Our work, we've been instructed to do what we can in the community. And even if we were sticking within the municipal boundaries of Courtenay, a lot of the work that we do would like the benefits would spill over anyways, but we aren't restricting ourselves within the municipal boundaries. So we've done a lot of work with the Cumberland Community Forest Society, for example, which I know is of interest to you, and in Comox and just all over the regional district. And we haven't actually managed to do any projects on Denman or Hornby, but we've been in chats about that as well. So really, all the work that we do is supporting all of the local municipalities, and the more support that we have, the bigger our impact can be.
Okay, and is it different youth every year, or would you guys continue? Do you have the option of continuing and doing multiple years?
I think it's not like strictly set out that you can't do a second season, but usually we would, our hope is that at the end of the season, the climate action mobilizers, who are the youth we employ, would hopefully find meaningful work in the industry. And then we would open up the program to fresh youth that haven't done the program before, but depending on the circumstances, it's not out of the question.
Awesome. And is it year round or just a seasonal?
Right now, it's just seasonal. So we started at the end of May, and then our program actually got extended. So we'll be running until mid-October. But depending on funding, we would love to have a longer season. It just depends on what we have the capacity for.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, I'll pass it over to Director Hillian.
Thanks, Chair. We have to be careful at this board when we're speaking to young people. I'm remembering back to about 7 or 8 years ago when we had some young people present, and I think it was Councillor Morin or Director Morin who chastised several of us for appearing to be patronizing. But I just want to compliment all of you on your public speaking and your clarity of presentation. And thank you for all the efforts that you've made in the community, both to support environmental awareness and projects, as well as engagement of our young people in such important work. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further lights, just as I began by introducing you, thank you for the great work you did in Cordy this year. And climate change is an area where there aren't a lot of good news stories that make you feel good. And I think you and I know that we need to be seeing things that are worth talking about, that are good news and good for the future. So thank you for all that you've done. And we don't usually make any decisions on the evening, but we'll certainly take what you've said and give it some thought, particularly when we go back to our own individual tables, community by community. So we can get back to the boring business that we have in front of us and just go, please enjoy this beautiful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and next is the gripping water restrictions dashboard for receipt. I don't know if you want to, staff want to add any context at all to that?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I think Mark Ruttner, General Manager of Engineering Services, has just a really brief presentation to orient the board on the dashboard, which is presented typically to Electoral Area Services Committee, Comox Valley Water Committee, and the Black Creek Oyster Bay Services Committee. But I think it's being included here because we didn't have a water committee meeting this month. So for information at this point, but Mark, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. I just have a short summary just to highlight a couple of the key numbers and information. So this is the latest issue of the dashboard, and it's the second to last one for the year. So we will have one more just to round out September. On this particular dashboard, you'll see that we achieved some pretty high peaks in the Comox Valley water system, 53 million liters per day in July and 52 in August. These are the highest ever peaks for the plant. Previously, 50 million was the highest. Total production fell for all other service areas in August over July, which is typical as water demand starts to fall off. And we're not expecting to need to go to any higher stage of restrictions for the Comox Valley system. But that potential always exists if it's a very dry fall, but that's not expected at this time. The other sources within the consumption report are also looking good, the other smaller water services, in terms of not having to go to stage 3 restrictions. And just 2 points to make on Langley Lake and Graham Lake. We're showing in the report that Langley Lake level is below the spillway. However, that was a mistake that we will correct in the report. We have a lake level indicator there. We just didn't record the number at the last visit. And for Graham Lake, we also show the lake level as below spillway, both in July and August. And we have just installed a level indicator on Graham Lake, which will allow us to start measuring the lake level instead of just recording as below spillway. So those are the highlights, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
All right, Dr. Brown.
I mean, since I'm not on the water committee, here's my opportunity. So you said we had an increase in peak day, but it looks like about 300,000 cubic meters. But without water meters, or do we have some water meters? And do we know where that's coming from? Is that just growth in the area, or is it something?
Yes, so it's definitely a combination of things. So growth would contribute to a higher peak. In terms of water meters, this consumption is for Courtenay, Comox, and local service areas. So some local service areas that surround Courtenay and Comox. And so some of those areas are metered, some are not metered. There are some residential meters. I understand that all commercial and multifamily is metered. So there's just a combination of kind of metering going on. And so it's hard to determine exactly where that demand is coming from. Some from growth, some from weather, some from a very dry summer, not especially hot, but quite dry this summer. So yeah, it does come from many places.
Thanks.
All right, thanks very much. I'm not seeing any other questions. This is simply for receipt. So anyone opposed to receipt? Oh, sorry, actually, no, I need a receipt motion moved and seconded. I don't think we have one. Okay, moved and seconded. Appreciate that. Anyone opposed to receipt? That carries. Then we have some minutes from the August 11th Black Creek Oyster Bay Services Committee. Okay, moved and seconded. Any additions or omissions? Anyone opposed to receipt? That carries. Minutes now for EASC for August 11th for receipt. Thank you. Any questions, errors, omissions? Anyone opposed? Carries. Sewage Commission meets minutes August 12th. Thank you. Any errors, omissions? Seeing none, that carries. Water Committee for August 12th. Thank you very much. Seeing no lights, I'll assume those are fine. Anyone opposed? That carries. And then we're ESC committee September 8th. And we have 3 recommendations there. The first one is for Greaves Crescent, a temporary use permit. This is vote of the areas. Okay. And that's moved and seconded. Anyone opposed? That carries. And move 2. It's also a temporary use permit. This is Oyster River Way. Any questions or comments on that? Oh, sorry. My apologies. I'm not reading that properly. It's a rezoning. Sorry about that. I believe that's been moved and seconded. Okay. Okay.
Just the areas.
Yeah, I understand that we still need to move and seconded. So this is also the areas A, B, and C. Anyone opposed? And that carries. All right. That's been moved and seconded. This sort of release of a covenant. This is also a vote of the areas. Anyone opposed? That carries. Now into first and second readings. We're going to start off with bylaw number 520. Be given first and second reading. Okay. Again, a vote of the areas. Anyone opposed? Third reading on. Thank you. Anyone opposed? That carries. And now we're going to CBRD security issuing bylaw number 876 and first and second readings. Okay, someone second that? Okay, great. This is a vote of everyone. Anyone opposed? Carries. And then we're third reading, second and third. And anyone opposed? That carries. And we're into final adoption. And this is 520, which regarding the Schultz Road Fountain. It's again, I voted the areas. Anyone opposed? And that carries. Move termination, sets a new record. All right, thanks for a very efficient meeting and wishing everyone a good afternoon. And we're terminated.